Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a major update with Mamdani that you do not want to miss. The New York City Mayor Zohran. He just got absolutely annihilated, and now people are exposing the truth about Mamdani. Okay? Now, before we dive in, we're going to read scripture and pray because God comes first. Amen? Comment the word amen in the comment section down below if you believe that God comes first in your life. But the Lord is faithful, and he will strengthen you and protect you from the evil one. Amen. So leave the word amen in the comment section down below. And congratulations to everyone who has begun investing in the stock market. The stock market has been soaring under the leadership of Donald John Trump. If you still want to get in, we now have the lowest price ever. You can take out your phone and scan this QR code or go to thefinanzone.org. Type that in and get signed up in a couple of minutes. You don't need a lot of money to get started, and you don't need any experience at all. And you can still get bonus stocks inside the program. So Zohran Mamdani just got booed off the stage after a pro-police event. Take a listen, guys. This is insane.
What's happening right now in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, the mayor, after some of the many harsh, awful things he said about the New York police in the past, came back to haunt him. Here he is getting booed in New York City.
Wow, booed.
And apparently this smile is not how he's feeling on the inside. The cover of the New York Post today, Mayor Zoflake is the headline. The smiling social media socialist is apparently thin-skinned, Lawrence, petty behind the scenes, according to insiders. And he's letting a lot of this get to him, and he's not as strong on the inside as he's putting himself off on the outside.
So we're finally getting the leaks. I was wondering when it was going to start happening. The problem is, when it comes to Zohran Mamdani, he doesn't show it publicly. The guy is always smiling. He's very charismatic, and that's how he got a lot of people to be fooled. I will say this, I don't know.
I mean, he is a good speaker. He's kind of like Obama.
What he was thinking. Y'all ever see the movie Copland? That is Staten Island. Why you would dare step foot in Staten Island after trying to defund the police, getting rid of police academies in New York City, backing essentially the criminals in this city when it comes to getting them more rights? I just don't understand his calculation, but the smile never faded, Griff.
Yeah, I mean, what did he think was going to happen when he goes to an NYPD night out event after all the criticism, and still to this day won't talk about funding the SRT? Look, some of the greatest cops live in Staten Island, to your point, and Mamdani's spokeswoman did send a statement to the New York Post talking about the leak, saying the mayor's focus has and always will be how best to deliver for New Yorkers, and he sees our city and state elected officials as valuable partners in building a safer and more affordable city.
That was a quick reaction to this report that he's thin-skinned, right? But, I mean, I went and pulled the record of the things that Zohran Mamdani has said in the past about the police, and specifically here in New York City. During the George Floyd protest, he called to defund the rogue agency. He described the NYPD as racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. He has since tried to distance himself from those positions, but the record doesn't go away on where he stood just a few years ago on New York's finest.
Yeah, right now he's currently trying to get rid of the overtime for the officers, and in many cases he's been able to get away with it. And you know, two of the last attacks that we've had hero cops stop, they were working overtime. So you know, we're seeing it in implementation right now. If you look at the streets now, it's starting to look like Skid Row. got homeless encampments. That's because the mayor is telling our cops not to enforce the laws that are on the book. So we're not a safer city. And I think there's a lot of voters that are out there that have, as smiley as he is, have some buyer remorse.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And look, you know, Mamdani was the first major socialist story that everybody was going, wow, I wonder if this is going to catch on elsewhere. Well, it was his anti-police, anti-law enforcement rhetoric, which now when you see, to your point, Sandra, these DSA spokespeople talking about, yes, that, yes, this, abolish police, abolish prisons. So he may have brought out a genie that won't go back into the bottle.
Abolish the Senate, reform the Supreme Court. I mean, where do you stop? That platform should just be on a scroll, because that's truly where these candidates stand. But take note, they are winning big time in some of these cities.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
That is crazy. He literally got booed off. And Joe Rogan literally just exposed Zohran on his own show. So take a listen, guys.
That's so insane when it comes to contradictions. One of my favorite new ones is the Mamdani grocery stores. They said, how are you going to ensure that people from New York have access to this grocery store? Well, they're going to have to show ID.
But not to vote.
Yes.
But not to vote.
How crazy is it that your checkers game is so shitty that you're like, oh yeah, here we go. And people are like, do you know what you just did?
Yeah.
Do you know what you just did?
Put yourself a checkmate.
Jesus fucking Christ, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody say when you just got done saying that you don't want people to show ID for voting. Because it'll
disenfranchise them.
Especially poor people. They're talking about poor people and people of color, which are the people that you would think, the poor people are the ones who are going to use your grocery stores. So you're going to disenfranchise them from getting access to your 30% off groceries.
You know what's bizarre about that argument?
They won't ask for ID. Meaning New Yorkers can buy cheap goods. So, but they asked him today, and that was what he indicated, that they were going to find out whether or not you're actually from New York. Well, how else are you going to do that?
You have to have ID.
I think this is just a response to the reaction, like saying that August 3rd, which is today, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is what they said after what he said. So what he said was yesterday. So there's probably a massive blowback where people realize how crazy it is to say that. But there's so much on the left that's so insane when it comes to contradictions. One of my favorite new ones is the Mamdani grocery stores.
So what do you guys think about the Mamdani grocery store? Take a look at this. Mamdani money. Price tag on Mamdani's Democratic Socialist agenda draws scrutiny as backlash grows. I mean, this is getting insane, guys. I mean, what really is going on with Zohran Mamdani? It's literally wild to me. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, that didn't go well. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani booed and cursed at when he tried to speak at an NYPD event this week in Staten Island, left the stage after less than a minute. We're also hearing some of his campaign promises. He's now fessing up, essentially are going to cost a lot more than he claimed in the campaign. Former NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow standing by. First to national correspondent Brian Yennis reporting live on this from New York. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Martha. Well, Democratic Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani said his agenda would cost about $10 billion a year. Turns out it's likely going to be more than that. Let's start with free universal child care. The Center for New York City Affairs estimates the cost at about up to $9.3 billion a year. That's 55% more than Mamdani said. Most of that pays for his promise of teacher-level salaries for child care workers. Mamdani said he would raise $10 billion a year, mostly through new taxes on corporations and millionaires. So far, he's projected to raise just about $1 billion a year from a new pied-à-terre tax and state aid. The problem is only the state can levy new taxes, and Governor Kathy Hochul has said no. Well, sort of. She recently said yes to a new pied-à-terre tax on second homes in the city. Hochul defended that tax this afternoon.
What I do support is saying that those who are able to afford a second home worth over $5 million, but do not make New York City your home, you're benefiting from police and fire protective services and are maintaining our roads and during snowstorms and in the summer. So why aren't you contributing to this? So I'm asking people to pay their fair share.
The question is, how much more does the city really need? New York City's annual budget is already $126 billion, bigger than the budgets of 46 states, 8 times bigger than LA's budget. And yet the city, Martha, is staring at a $7 billion deficit next year.
A lot of Americans look at this rising tide of socialism and say, how did we get here? We got here by 40 years of bipartisan leaders selling our industrial base to foreign countries, allowing low-wage immigrants to come in and compete with Americans for jobs, by destroying the foundation of the middle class. That's how you got socialism. How you fix that problem is by doubling down on Donald Trump's economic nationalism.
And we see with the economic nationalism and what's going on in our nation is that everyone who's been investing in the stock market, for instance, we've been seeing the economy and the stocks actually rise under Donald Trump's administration. And President Trump even had a message for all of us who are looking to get invested. This is what Trump said.
You better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. Rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher.
So everyone who's been investing in the stock market has been seeing their investments rise under President Donald J. Trump. We actually have a special summer mega sale going on right now where you can sign up to learn how to invest like Trump by taking out your phone, scanning that QR code, or going to thefinanzone.org. I'll also have the links below. You can get your bonus stocks inside the program, the lowest price ever, and even payment plans available to make it even more affordable. No experience necessary. You can learn how to invest, beginner friendly, and you don't need a lot of money to get started.
Zohran Mamdani getting a taste of reality from some New York City residents who don't have liberal arts degrees. It took less than a minute for the mayor to be booed off stage at a Staten Island event. It was a New York Police Department event, in fact. The crowd letting him know they won't forget his past demonization of police. But someone might want to show Bernie Sanders that video because he thinks the defund movement is just a silly relic of the past.
No serious person that I know who is running for office believes in, quote unquote, defunding the police. Do we need police reform? Do we need to get rid of racism within police departments? Absolutely. Are there jobs that other people can be doing in terms of mental health, drug addiction that now falls on a cop's shoulders? Yeah, I think we should look at that in terms of doing away with prisons. I hope the day comes.
And yet, Martha, a serious person, Mamdani, the mayor, had to apologize for past remarks on police on the story.
Yeah, when he was running for mayor, he said prior to running that the NYPD was wicked, corrupt, and a major threat to public safety. He did apologize in the interview that we did that was in October of 2025. I don't know who set him up for this thing in Staten Island, but this is the most conservative part of a very blue city. And he went to this police gathering. It was supposed to be happy night out against crime. But if he walked into that, I don't know what his staff told him about this event, but he walked into it, a place that was clearly not going to be friendly and not going to be happy to him. I know that Jessica Tisch, the commissioner of the police department, she has very goodwill with the members of the police force, but they also know that he said he wasn't going to cut the numbers of New York City police officers. But what he did do was disband an entire class of incoming New York City police officers who were intending to join the force, and they were told, like, sorry, we don't need your help right now. So I blame his staff for putting him in this situation. It's not a good look, and to get literally booed off a stage in less than a minute is punishing, and it says a lot about where he stands.
Yeah, you know, Harold, defund the police. No, it is not a clarion call of Democratic nominees, but a lot of these candidates have statements in their past.
They do. Most politicians do. But I'll say this. I'm a believer in personal, financial, and political markets and dynamics being at work. And what we saw yesterday... What?
Nothing good.
What we saw yesterday was a political market there in Staten Island, him getting booed. And him believing somehow or another you could say these things about the police. You could have the posture he has before the police. and about their role in our community, and that people will just accept it. I would remind him of a great Brooklyn poet named the Notorious B.I.G. Now, that was what I was trying to get you to laugh at, who once said to never get high on your own supply. And if you believe you can go before an audience of police officers and they're just going to clap for your smiles, but your lack of policy and lack of commitment and funding for them, you're high on your own supply, whether it's a staff or him. You got to be focused on the city, on our public safety, and producing results. And you finally went before a crowd. It told you how they really felt.
Yep.
I wanted to see housing affordability and like a greater kind of ability for the everyday person to accomplish what they want to accomplish. And it's nice to talk about it, but I feel like it's not something that we're seeing real change on.
I don't think that it's in our human nature to be socialist. So yeah, I mean, Mamdani is not for me.
All right, correspondent Brian Yennis reports live from our New York bureau, and as a lot of opponents of Mamdani would say, socialism's not quite working, Brian.
Yeah, hey, John. It has been a rough week for Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Tuesday, the Democratic Socialist left the stage after less than a minute as he was booed and cursed at that NYPD community event on Staten Island. It is the most conservative borough in the city. He's also facing criticism over his new pied-à-terre tax, fresh accusations his anti-Israel rhetoric is stoking anti-Semitism, and growing questions about how Mamdani is going to pay for his $10 billion campaign agenda. Take a look here. Mamdani said he would raise $10 billion a year, mostly through new taxes on corporations and millionaires. So far, he's on track for about $1 billion from a new pied-à-terre tax and state aid. Here's the problem. Only the state can levy new taxes, and Governor Kathy Hochul has said no. She gave the city $1.2 billion over 2 years for childcare. Beyond that, neither of them can say how to pay for it all. Here's Hochul defending the new pied-à-terre tax on second homes, though, in the city.
I did this to help the city of New York, which I also represent, get through a financial crisis. The mayor did inherit a real fiscal mess, and he had to plug a hole, and I'm focused on keeping the economic engine for our state and the nation strong and viable.
And the Mamdani agenda is looking like it'll cost more than $10 billion a year. Start with free universal child care. The Center for New York City Affairs estimates the cost at up to $9.3 billion a year, 55% more than Mamdani said. Most of that pays for his promise of teacher-level salaries for child care workers. Making matters worse, John and Sandra, New York City faces a $7 billion budget deficit next year, a hole it must dig out of first to balance its budget as required by law before it can even begin to pay for Mamdani's agenda. Guys.
You know, that event with the NYPD, you saw him smiling through the whole thing, and you wonder, is he just smiling through the pain, or maybe the guy doesn't have any self-awareness as to exactly what's going on? I don't know. We'll see which one it is. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Well, he's smiling, but Lord only knows how he really feels on the inside. Those are some loud boos. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani there, relentlessly getting booed at a police celebration in Staten Island. He spoke for less than 1 minute before he left the stage. So if we just kept rolling for 10 more seconds, he would have been gone. The socialist mayor is also facing deep scrutiny for many of his costly projects and for not delivering on his promises. Voters were warned there's no such thing as free. You know, common sense. Brian Yennis has more from our New York City newsroom. Brian.
Harris, well, Democratic Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani campaigned on an agenda he said would cost about $10 billion a year. 90% of that money, he said, would come from new taxes on corporations and millionaires. But so far, he's on track to raise only about $1 billion a year from a new pied-à-terre tax and state aid. Here's the problem. Only the state can levy new taxes, and Governor Kathy Hochul has said no. She gave the city $1.2 billion over 2 years for free universal child care. Beyond that, neither of them can say how to pay for it all.
Is it possible to fund 2K going forward without increasing taxes on the wealthy.
You know, I think the most important thing is that we fund programs like this.
I am committed through the program next year. I can't commit future budgets at this time.
And the Mamdani agenda may cost even more than he said. Start with free universal child care. The Center for New York City Affairs estimates the cost at up to $9.3 billion a year, 55% more than Mamdani said. Most of that pays for his promise of teacher-level salaries for child care workers. Then there's free and fast buses. Mamdani said that would take $800 million a year. The city's independent budget office says $1.1 billion. It's now on hold. Making matters worse, Mamdani's own budget office projects a $7 billion deficit next year.
And President Trump is telling us right now, you know, that this is a great time to buy stocks, right? That the market's going to boom. He literally said that.
The markets today are way down, the worst day in years because of the tariffs. So how's it going? I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
He said the stock is going to boom, and was he correct? Let's take a listen. How has the market been doing since President Trump got into office? He got in on what, 2024? I guess he came in around January, right? It was at 6,100, and now look at the price today. It's at 7,700. This is just what the market's been doing under Trump. Look at how much it's been booming. So everyone who's been investing in the stock market has been seeing their investments rise under President Donald J. Trump. We actually have a special summer mega sale going on right now where you can sign up to learn how to invest like Trump by taking out your phone, scanning that QR code, or going to thefinanzone.org. I'll also have the links below. You can get your bonus stocks inside the program, the lowest price ever, and even payment plans available to make it even more affordable. No experience necessary. You can learn how to invest, beginner friendly, and you don't need a lot of money to get started. Now, take a look at this. Congressman snaps and demands Trump deport Mamdani for undermining U.S. foreign policy, calling him a criminal. Take a listen, guys. This is from the Benny Johnson Show.
The American people need to see us continue to fight for them. That's why we're doing the border security bill from yesterday, stock trading today, SAVE Act we're fighting through. I expect us to probably get the budget framework passed this week so we can get the first step of like 5 to see if we can get that done. But the American people expect us to deliver.
So I just want something really quickly. I mean, you keep talking about this border bill and Trump's immigration policy. And Trump seems to be going at loggerheads with Mamdani right now. And Mamdani just released a video this morning where it's like this guy thinks he's president. You know, like the video is unbelievable. And he's sitting here saying like, you know, he's doing like almost a presidential address about arresting a foreign head of state. And I don't even care what you think about that foreign head of state, because I have some very strong feelings, but like, I don't even care what you think about it. Like, you're not allowed to do that. You're a derpy mayor that just got it. Like, you don't even go here. He doesn't even go here. Like, you just became a citizen like last week. And he's sitting here like saying like, I'm going to arrest a foreign head of state. This is insane. Like, it has to end. Like, these people are not Western, right? Like, their mindset isn't Western. This is not about like law and order. A separation of powers, and like they really do have like third world groupthink and brain rot.
Yeah, look, I've been very public. I think Mamdani should be denaturalized and deported, and I think that's true. I think any sane country that has looked at what's been occurring in our nation since 9/11, when 19 hijackers overstayed visas, which, by the way, we put penalties in the bill yesterday in HR 2 on overstay visas, and Democrats hate it, but attacked our country, the March of Islam, association with CARE, association with terrorist groups, violating probably the Logan Act and engaging in foreign policy as a mayor of New York, in direct, I think, contradiction of law. I mean, you can debate that one way or the other, but very clearly you know what he's up to. And this is somebody who was given the gift of naturalization. You don't have any right to that. That's the people of this country saying, okay, we want people to be able to come benefit from being an American. And this guy is completely attacking everything good and great about our country. I mean, it's very clear and obvious. He saddles up with people who talk about waging jihad against the West and against America. And then he gets up and wants to go play Secretary of State in direct contradiction to our elected president and Secretary of State, talking about arresting Benjamin Netanyahu.
Meeting with Iran. The State Department had to stop it. Like, they came out and said that we stopped Mamdani from meeting with Iran. Right. Like, they just killed American citizens, American military members.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, and God rest their souls and thank those great patriots. And but we just beat around the bush on this stuff. Like, look, they want to destroy our way of life. They do. They want the Judeo-Christian values upon which we are founded, the principles, our Constitution, the Declaration. It is reviled. And they will use the Constitution, they will use the First Amendment to kill us with it. And we either acknowledge that there's a war being waged against our way of life, or we will lose the war that is being waged against our way of life. And that's what I believe in. And again, a sane country wouldn't have imported 5 million people from majority Muslim countries since 9/11.
Yes.
We wouldn't have naturalized somebody now that is now the mayor of New York who wants to destroy our way of life and is cohorting with the enemy and saying that he's going to take into his own hands arresting a head of state that is, by all accounts, an ally of the United States of America. We have lots of opinions we can share about what we're doing, how we're doing it in Israel, Iran, and I've got my own concerns. For example, as we vote for this budget resolution, and we're voting to fund the Defense Department, the War Department, to the tune of $83 billion between defense and intel. Well, I'm for that broadly because I want to restock our munitions. I want to do all of that. I want a strong position around the globe, and I want to support the president and Secretary Hegseth. I want to rebuild our military. I want to get it the best in the world. But we haven't had a full-throated debate about are we at war with Iran or not, and is Congress backing it? We have not done that. Okay, I'm sitting here in this body, and I'll tell you right now, I'll debate anybody anywhere. We are only kind of acquiescing to the idea of being at war. If we're at war with Iran, let's own it, and let's do what we need to do to have a goal, a mission, carry out the mission, win it, do what you need to do it, and then be done. But I don't want to see Americans dying with something we're not all committed to as Americans. And let's commit to it, let's do it, let's unite and go do whatever we're going to do, or let's not. So there's going to be a lot of debates coming up on the reconciliation bill because we're funding that stuff. The National Defense Authorization Act, I'm not sold on voting for that yet until I know what defense war is saying, what we're going to do about this war in Iran. We can have that debate a separate day, but my point is just this. Mamdani, he represents everything that is abhorrent about our broken immigration system, our weakness on the march of Islam in our country, and putting people in power that we're not willing to call out and even denaturalize and deport if they're carrying forward things that are against our country, undermining the Constitution and the rule of law.
Yeah, it's right there on the immigration documents and laws that have been passed by Congress. You're not allowed to naturalize communists. You can't do that. If you had an affiliation with a communist party, you're not allowed to become an American citizen. It's in the black and white. It's like in the law. It's American law. Right. Okay, quick, just final follow-up on that. Denaturalize and deport Ilhan Omar? What's your take on this? What's your take on your colleague?
So I would say that is certainly within the realm of possibility. I've seen her actions. I think I certainly think so. I think at the end of the day that she's got all of the same qualities that I'm talking about with respect to Mamdani. What I'm seeing with Mamdani and sort of direct action, like this direct work and reaching out to Iran and calling for Netanyahu to be arrested, all of that stuff is just immediate and obvious. With Ilhan Omar, I think she represents a block of constituents in Minnesota that are going to replace her with someone basically the same. But we ought to deal with her and make sure that we investigate her fully, and where there's evidence connected to terrorist activity, connected to CARE, connected to the entities that are undermining our national security and our interests, then denaturalize and deport. By the way, we should denaturalize and deport lots of people. There have been lots of people who have been naturalized over the last 2 decades plus, probably longer, who shouldn't be in the United States. I don't mind saying that. And so, I think we should pursue all those options where we can.
Yeah. Now, take a listen to President Trump.
The United States, as you probably have heard, is doing better than it has ever done in terms of business and investment. The stock market has hit a new high, as you know, and that's for many, many days out of our fairly short 8 months. And we seem to be hitting new highs, and I think we're going to do much better even as time goes by. Jobs are at a record, and most importantly, we have more than $17 trillion, $17 trillion, and this is during an 8-month period being invested in the country, which is not only a record, but if you compare $17 trillion to
all that money coming in. And I've been investing heavy into the stock market. As you can see, my investments right now are up over $32,000. We actually have a special summer mega sale going on right now where you can sign up to learn how to invest like Trump by taking out your phone, scanning that QR code, or going to theFinanceZone.org. I'll also have the links below. You can get your bonus stocks inside the program, the lowest price ever, and even payment plans available to make it even more affordable. No experience necessary. You can learn how to invest, beginner friendly, and you don't need a lot of money to get started.